Man. The stuff that I want to say about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is insane. Like the stuff I really want to say. Let me fix this. Ugh. The stuff I really want to say about that game. One can't help but want to see the other part of fighting games thrive. Spare the game? No. Nope. Tired of that shit. I think every fighting game should be held to the same standard, and I do believe that right now, if
What's up, fam? How you doing?
How you doing? What's up?
Never forget about that, 'cause that's all we got.
Never forget. But check it. All fighting games should be held to the same fucking standard. I think if traditional fighting games are pushing rollback netcode, there's no reason for an arena fighter to not push rollback either. That just sounds like bullshit to me. But I get it. The people who are the demographic for those games don't give a fuck about rollback, but there are people that do give a fuck about it. So I think the people who don't give a fuck obviously outweigh the people who do, but that doesn't mean that you can't hold them to a standard, right? If this is the new standard for fighting games, they should follow suit. They shouldn't be the last in line. You know what I mean? But if they want to keep them as cash grabs, sure. Then I think the people who like look at what's happening, right? TNS is running a sparking tournament on PC. Let's be serious here. Let's be serious. You know what I mean? Let's actually be serious here. What are we doing? We're gonna run a tournament in 2025 on delay-based netcode. KDOT just ran a tournament for Twitch Black Guild for that game. Yes, that game does not have rollback. Ace, it's already been happening. It's already happening. I know that the online is good for what it's worth, but that's the problem. The people that are playing the game are just accepting that, hey, it's Budokai 3 and it's online. It runs. I mean, it's playable. So whatever, I don't care. Rawr. Fuck off, dude. We don't need rollback netcode. Okay. I'm sure you don't. Come on, dude. You'd have to be. You're hard trolling me. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe that for 1 second that you couldn't use rollback netcode for your game. You know what makes me mad? Bleach just announced Soy Fun, and I'm like, fuck, man. Take my money. I'm gonna buy for Soy Fun. I'm probably gonna play it twice and never play again. Great. It's horrible. I know this game's not gonna have good online. I don't have to play it competitive to appreciate it. I don't want to play the story mode. I guess this kind of leads into what, this can kind of sort of be the first topic in a sense, right? Anime fighters, right? Anime fighters in regards to the online experience and Sparking Zero, right? I'm gonna use Sparking Zero as the template for this discussion, right? So Sparking Zero, I'm gonna be honest, is a good fighting game. It's a good fighting game, right? For what it's worth and what they offer, right? As a fighting game, as someone who plays fighting games, traditional fighting games, I want to just open up with it's a good fighting game, right? And I also want people to know that's gonna watch this, know that I'm on your side. So before you get any further in this video or any further in this discussion, I'm on your side. Please understand that. Now that you understand that, we can move forward. From a single player standpoint, I have no problems with Sparking Zero. Zero problems. No problems. I think the content that's offered, the modes that are offered, all great. I can deal with that. Those things are all good, dude. I have no problem with that. However, I do have a problem with the online. I get it. Maybe you've been playing, Tenkaichi 2 on the emulators and stuff like that through Parsec. I feel you. That's cool. I get it. I'm not gonna hold you. I understand how troublesome that was, but you guys made it work. Totally okay with that. But this is 2025, right? Going into 2025. We're in 2024. We're going into 2025, right? In being here in this time frame, right? in 2024. The standard for fighting games has changed. One can argue, and I want to point this out here too, right? We've been pushing for rollback netcode for traditional fighting games for a while, right? Our first implementation of that was like what? At least from the mainstream game was Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and then like other games like Killer Instinct, Skullgirls have all implemented that stuff as well. When it came to the Japanese side of the games, they didn't care because most of the games were played in the arcade, so they didn't think about the other demographics. They're just like, well, it's gonna sell well anyway, so whatever. Which is the same logic with the arena fighters, right? So with that being said, that's not a good way to look at it, right? And now obviously you fast forward, we'll just for the sake of, we'll just use Sejam and Max being the people who are advocating it for rollback netcode to be in fighting games. The reality is they weren't the only persons, barking about that. Everyone's barking about that. Everyone knew GGPO's, netcode was already out there. And so many other games had followed suit and tried to pick up the GGPO source code, Fight K was already out there. People saw how good it was. But like the Japanese developers didn't use it. They didn't want to utilize it. And that's like the biggest trepidation is like the source code was free. It was out there. They left it out there. But the Japanese developers opted to not use it because they didn't make it. And that tends to be one of the few things that I think, and I do believe there is an article or something to that effect where the Japanese developers kind of sort of stated, it's like directly but indirectly, that like they didn't want to use the rollback netcode because somewhat of it can be considered as pride, or they kind of pranced around it, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is the source code was there. They could have used it. So many other people have used it and tried to make it better, etc., etc. You fast forward through all the nonsensical things, through all the promotion, and when I say promotion is in like all the barking and raising of concerns for rollback netcode, all up until the release of Guilty Gear Strive, where they almost didn't release the game with rollback netcode, right? They hired Zynak, who was working at Iron Galaxy, or basically he was part of the KI team. They hired that dude over to push the rollback, you know what I mean? So it's almost like, okay, we didn't want to implement it ourselves, so let's get someone who's worked on a game that did implement it, and let's get them to put it in this game. Okay, cool, fine, we get it. So now they innovated rollback, and I was like, yes, we did it. But it's like, you made your market suffer all this time up until Guilty Gear Strive to put rollback netcode in it. Because the reality is, Guilty Gear Xrd was being designed with rollback netcode in mind. They opted to not put it in for whatever reason, and it makes no sense to me thinking about it, right? So with that being said, knowing that they didn't use it is still befuddling to me, right? Because let me tell you something right now. Xrd sign-on release online, not playable, unplayable, completely unplayable. Don't get it twisted. Unplayable, period. No two ways about it. Unplayable. We had to go through so many hoops and wait to be able to play it. Then the PC version came along. People learned how to optimize it, but specifically in like Revelators, when we learned how to optimize it and make it more playable for us, despite like the delay would say like 2 to 3 or 4 delay, but with enough optimizations with the delay base, it felt like it was console. Still a little bit of input latency, but not as bad as it would be if we didn't use the optimizations on the PC. So essentially the game shows you one thing, but the way it plays is another, which is nice, right? But it doesn't mean we appreciate it. It's not to mean we didn't want delay-based netcode. So when you fast forward to Strive and that movement of rollback netcode in traditional fighting games was a smart move. Street Fighter 5 had it, other games before it had it, but the real push to get it really, really working definitely was in Guilty Gear Strive. So, and hell, just to kind of further prove the point of what I mean about somewhat of Japan's pride in particular about the rollback netcode, maybe they didn't want them to tamper with it. It's hard to say, right? But there were fans of Street Fighter 5 that took the PC port and fixed the network, and the rollback was good. But you couldn't play cross-play, but if you played PC to PC, the rollback was top-notch. They rolled out a patch and took that shit out, frame 1. How is it that a group of people could fix it, but you couldn't? Oh, that's right. Street Fighter 5's rollback network team, or the networking team was a team of one. Go figure. But with that being said, when you have these issues arise, it doesn't look good for people, right? Again, Zynax over there on Strive, they did his thing. Strive pushed the boundaries, and then rollback netcode is all the craze. Arxis is putting rollback on all their old games. They put it in freaking Plus R, they put it in Persona, they put it in BlazBlue CF, they put it in BB Tag. Everything, their whole library of their final versions of the games all have rollback, which is fantastic. You don't need to put it in, BlazBlue CT or nothing like that. Chrono Phantasma, or no, Central Fiction, excuse me. Perfect. The last versions, perfect. Leave it there, right? So their catalog is looking good with rollback netcode, right? Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and so forth, right? We're pushing now with rollback netcode, and like the online experience is great, which is the next point I'm trying to lead into. The online experience is important. So swinging it back to Sparking Zero, right? Sparking Zero's online needs work. It's funny when I read these things and I see like, give us back split screen. We're in 2024. What the hell we need split screen for? But I get it. People want to have their nostalgia, right? So they retrofitted the split screen stuff, and there you go, right? In my honest opinion, that's kind of bad. The game wasn't designed to be that way. Let it be the way it's supposed to be, I get it. They want to be able to have tournaments and stuff like that locally, but it's like, if I can see where you're hiding on the split screen, there is no surprise. There's no element of surprise. I'm finna come at you. The coolest part of playing that game is having two setups. But like, it takes away the element of surprise against the enemy. For a game that's supposed to like let you play kind of sort of hide and go seek at some points when you get knocked away, so you can key charge and stuff like that. I'm not saying you're gonna sit there and play hide and go peek all day long. Yeah, split screen is very niche, but I think that going in 2024, that's not a feature that needs to be available anymore. It's not. It doesn't do anything for either player, in my opinion. Especially when you can only play on one stage now, apparently. I would have much rather them take the time out to implement rollback netcode, so that when you do decide to play locally, if you can play locally and there's some kind of connection, the game should be able to run just fine. Especially if you're just like if you're on the same network, it shouldn't be an issue, right? Or if they even added LAN play or something along those lines would have been a lot greater than just doing the split screen stuff, in my opinion. I think people who were playing that game that were asking for that underestimated the online experience, and that's what I'm leading into. Like, the online experience is like maybe 80% to 90% of that game. Like, I don't know anyone that played Demon Slayer and just played the single player content and just left it alone. They played online. Everyone that I saw, there was 90,000 people playing on Steam before full launch, and on full launch it was like 100k plus. I'm 99.9% confident of that. If I had to slice a percentage, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like less than 10% were playing the story, and the other 90% is on ranked or playing casual match with their favorite fusions. And I know that, and let me rephrase that. Not that I know that, I don't know that, right? But I'm confident in saying this because now the tune of the game is switching around where, oh, the fusions are too strong. Oh, fix ranked. Oh, fix the online. Oh, the fusions are broken. These characters are broken. And it's just, there's all this amalgamation of things that is coming into light now. And I'm like, So you guys have been mashing on ranked since this come out. What you telling me? Single player features didn't matter, right? Day one, you just went straight to ranked. Alright. Okay. See what I'm saying? So I have a strong hunch that a lot of people went straight to ranked and say, forget about story mode, right? So at that point, yeah, it's not a fighting game, right? At that point, it seems to me like you guys just wanted a new fighting game, and the extra story mode elements are just kind of like whatever. But to be real with you, the story mode elements within, or rather the single player elements that are within the game are really good elements. And I think that traditional fighting games could use those things too, to be real. They'd be really cool modes, you know? But I digress. But my point is, I'm seeing so many people complain about the online experience now, and I'm like, but you wanted the split screen. That's not online. That's local. You wanted a way to play locally. They gave you a way to play locally. I'd rather you give me that DLC and just make the freaking online experience better, because online is too important. Like, I've had my experience with the game where, like, you know, I've had some bad connections in playing, and I'm like, all right. When that game is bad, it's bad. And it's because you get a lot of people who are on Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So it makes it like not as fun. I'm not going to say that Wi-Fi players don't exist on Street Fighter or Tekken. They exist. But rollback netcode helps mitigate the, you know, the foolishness of the connection. Now, if it's bad, it's bad. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh man, rollback fixes their shitty online connection. No, it doesn't. But it helps mitigate when, like, if like, for example, if the Wi-Fi signal is strong enough and they're able to play, it's playable, right? That's why I still accept Wi-Fi players, even though I'm in Street Fighter and even Tekken when I was playing it, right? Because sometimes they could actually be a good player. They're just stuck on shitty connection. There's not much I can do about it, right? Not much they can do about it. Who knows, right? But regardless, if the connection's playable and we're able to keep, you know, if the matchmaking is good and we're able to keep playing and there's no issues, I mean, it's no different. But on delay base, when they're on Wi-Fi, it can just be completely just awful. Like, there's no fixing it, right? And I know that if I had to guess, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Sparking Zero uses the updated netcode to Tekken 7 with rollback 3. Shout outs to Edo with the rollback memes. But you know, that's neither here nor there. I don't know. That's what I'm guessing, right? But no. Tekken 8 has rollback netcode. What are you telling me? You guys couldn't implement it here? I get it. It's still a notion of trying to make things work. I feel it. But I would have rather them delay the game's release and then make sure rollback works. Because what bothers me in particular, and I'll tell you why it bothers me, right? It's because they have all these intricate mechanics that are like frame perfect, right? So perfect parry this, or perfect, you know, whatever that thing is called, perception, and then perfect counter and perfect parry in delay based netcode. When we do that in delay base, well, if you just hold the parry, it just works. Okay, then what's the point of these frame extensive things? Doesn't make any sense. Now, I understand the notion of saying they don't care, but in a lot of ways, I don't agree. I don't think that a company or development team would put that much love into some deep mechanics just to say they don't care. Now, obviously, I understand that, like, the team that's working on the mechanics and the gameplay is completely different than the network team. Obviously, I know that. But I think it's in their best interest to work together with both teams, or as a cohesive, to make sure that this stuff works. Because again, if the online experience isn't considered, then the game looks like a cash grab, and like everyone just looks the same on every other anime game that's come out, or every other arena fighter. Oh man, they don't care, but just give us a new Tenkaichi. You got your new Tenkaichi. Well, the new Tenkaichi's cool and all, but fusions are broken and online don't work. You asked for this. You can't. No, like, well, how they say it? No backsies. You can't do that now. It's released. You should have been clamoring for that before. Which is why I'm like, I hope before Bleach comes out, which I'm a big fan of Bleach, just so you know, I hope that they try to implement rollback netcode in that. But I'm not gonna freaking count my chickens before they hatch. I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. I know what's gonna happen. It's gonna release with delay-based netcode, and then they're gonna say some stupid stuff on PR like, oh, and do damage control. Oh, we didn't know you guys wanted rollback netcode. We didn't know the online experience mattered that much to you. We thought you just enjoyed just going through this. And God, that's the thing I want to say. Like, how I understand people enjoying the story mode, but like, there's a point of contention, in my opinion, where like if you've already seen the anime, playing through the story mode doesn't really do much for you. So of course you're just gonna play online, which is why I'm not surprised 90% of people that's playing Sparking Zero just went online, right? You already know what happens in the damn story. You already know what happens in cell games. I know you can do the create your own scenario thing. All right, cool. That's their way of making sure that story mode seems somewhat fresh. Cool, understood. But you have a whole nother fighting game here. You know what I mean? Like, the game is designed as a fighting game, first and foremost, right? And that's what gets me. The game is designed as a fighting game. So it's designed as a fighting game. Give it fighting game things. Like, you have fighting game mechanics. You have footsies, you have neutral, you have movement, you have freaking combos, you have all this. You have all these defensive freaking mechanics. And an online environment that is unsuitable. That doesn't make sense to me. That just doesn't make sense. Makes zero sense. You can call it a cash up if you want to, but the reality here is like, I just want to see more. Like, and again, I'm not hating on Sparking Zero. The game is dope at all. I'm not hating at all. I think the game is dope as hell. But I think as a consumer, you have to want more. You can't just be, well, at least it's out. Like, that's kind of the mentality that I've seen tossed around. Oh, well, at least they did it. Respectfully, of course. But don't you want to play it online? Don't you? I get it, you can play with your friends, obviously, right? But like, let's just be real here. Everyone runs straight to rank just to be like, yo, I'm like A2, I'm Diamond 5, I am Platinum 2, you know, I am Master Rank this. I get it. You want to show everyone that you're the top Gogeta in, you know, in the South or something or whatever, or in NA, I don't know, whatever. But like, you can't do that if the people you playing up against, you can't match, if you can't matchmake, if you can't connect, if your connection is bad, if you can't do any of that stuff, it didn't matter that you had. It doesn't matter that you're that. You know what I mean? And that's really just it. Like, I just want more for those games because realistically speaking, as much as I know, which can lead to another topic, but as much as people don't give arena fighters their credit, I think that they're cool. I think that they're another subgenre of the fighting games that should be acknowledged. They just don't get acknowledged because, ooh, this is a whole spiel, but it's like Bandai Namco, in my honest opinion, has a freaking chokehold on that market. And they're gonna keep releasing mid, and I say that very loosely, right? But they're gonna keep releasing mid online experiences because they know that they're gonna get the bag off of the anime IP itself. So I think that's where people need to speak. Instead of like looking at the next game and being like, oh, this game's gonna suck, why don't you ask, why don't you guys implement rollback netcode? Why are you not implementing the things that traditional fighting games have? And if the argument to return is, oh, well, we're not traditional fighting, it shouldn't matter, then I guess you're living under a rock. Let me preach the gospel to you about rollback netcode. This is gonna be the last good Dragon Ball game for a while. I mean, I think if they were smart, I would do Sparking Zero Reload or some shit like that with rollback netcode. Deadass. Oh, of course. I mean, fighting games are the same, right? Where you have two different audiences. You're always gonna have that. You're always gonna have the casual audience and you're gonna have the hardcore audience. That's never gonna change. But the reality is, like, you should be able to, servicing both audiences isn't difficult in the online experience. Just put rollback in it. I'm not gonna sit and tell you that implementing rollback is easy. No, it's not. But I think if there was a game to do it, it should have been Sparking Zero. Sparking Zero should have been the game to set the trend, is my point, right? Like, we know it's a Dragon Ball game, we know it's gonna make money, but if you set the trend with the technology, then you push the other competitors. But the problem is there's no competitors, it's just you. That's the problem. It's just big Bandai Namco. It's that, you know, like, it's just, you know, it used to be the big three. It's just big Bandai Namco. It's just them. They have all the IPs. Like, I did research myself and saw they had like 29 or so IPs under their belt, and it's like, no wonder you guys are doing whatever you want. You know, because you have no competition. Because there's no competition for that type of infrastructure, why would you care? Especially when your audience, like, it's crazy. Like, the audience dooms the games before they drop, so they kill them before they. I watched it with freaking, not what's it called? With JJK. Like, they literally killed the game before it dropped. And I would argue not Sparking Zero, but and I played all three of them, right? Just so everyone knows that's watching this, right? I own Sparking Zero, I own JJK on both platforms, PC and PS5, and I own Storm Connections. I bought all three brand new anime fighting games that have come out within this year. If not, I think I forget when Connections came out. If it was either last year or earlier this year, one or the other. Either way, I own all of them, right? So in before someone says, "Oh, you don't play," oh no, I played all right. I played all right. Trust you me. But my issues remains the same. Is that all of them have the same problems. Online sucks. If you talk to me about single player content, I think the co-op content in JJK is dope. I like that a lot. I think other games should pick up on that. Again, the online experience is too important. When 90% of your player base is going to be sitting there playing online and quote unquote ranked, you definitely want your online to work. But if you don't put any care into it, or the audience doesn't seem to care for it, now and I guess the vast majority of the audience, right? So at that point, if you didn't, like, if we were to compare and contrast the audience split, right, like the ratio of people who care about the online experience versus people who don't, the problem is that the trepidation will be that, right? The trepidation is that the people who want good online will be the minority, while the majority doesn't give a shit. That's a problem, because then those that didn't care about it only care about it when it doesn't work. That's a problem. You shouldn't care about it when it doesn't work. You should care about it 100%. It should be from start to finish, front to back. It shouldn't be, oh, it doesn't work right now, yo, fix online. No, they released it that way. Connections came out last year. Okay, cool. Regardless, I have all three of them, and I bought JJK twice just to support, because I love the anime. I know some companies don't deserve it, but like, I'm a person where if I really enjoy something, I'm willing to pay for it. The people who were saying that online was great day one, rip, of course. They're not saying that anymore. Why would you? How can you? It's not good. So, but you know, again, when, just to go back to Sparking and kind of round this out, because I know I'm getting a little long here, but simply put, I just want to see for the first time at Evo, whether I play it or not. Like, I don't care that much to playing it, right? But it's a genre. It is a subgenre of fighting games. We've had platform fighters at Evo. Arena fighters are the only ones that haven't had an official Evo title. I'm not saying Sparking Zero couldn't be it, especially with the split screen, but I think that part of the magic of that game and its combat is to be able to see both perspectives. If they're on the split screen, I think it makes it too difficult to commentate, and I think it does. I think it takes away from the magic of the game, personally. So I would love to see, whether it's Sparking Zero or not, could be Bleach, could be any other anime fighting game that comes out, but I don't, like I said, I want more communities at these events to play them. Just know that I care about that. I don't have to play in it. Like, I just want a place for those players to be able to facilitate that game, right? So if, say for example, Sparking Zero is the game, then I would love to see people who take the game seriously play it at a high level. I may not watch it at 100%, but like, if I'm sitting there Evo top 8 or whatever, and it comes up next, I'll sit there and I'll watch it, because it's like, that's kind of cool. It services those people who want to play that game at that level, you know? That's it. I'm letting you know, this isn't for me. I have Street Fighter. I have traditional fighting games. I'm not tweaking about not being able to play an anime fighter at Evo, because I know it's not going to be there. But it could be there with the right kind of push, one, and if the online was serviceable, then you can push for a competitive environment. That isn't to say that Bandai Namco won't do anything for Sparking Zero. I don't know, personally. But I wouldn't be surprised they try to use this as their way of removing or replacing Dragon Ball FighterZ. I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll see. I have no clue. But again, know that I'm on your side. I'm not here to berate your games. I want your games to freaking shine. So if you watch this and all you got out of it is I'm a hater, then you didn't listen to any word that I said. You just heard one thing and was like, you're a hater. So if you got this far in the video, good on you. But again, I'm on your side. Please understand. So that's how I feel about Sparking Zero and anime fighters, honestly and earnestly. Like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff. Talk to me in the comments below. All that. Yeah.